السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. وبعد. Brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, we have been discussing many important areas that need to be addressed when it comes to Ramadan. This is because this is truly an amazing month for us. It is definitely a really truly great month. And we have already decided that inshallah, because we know what it contains, or at least we have an idea, even if we don't know, because inshallah in these ensuing presentations that we are going to present now, inshallah we hope to explain the amazement of this month. At least we have tried to set up a basis from which you can work, inshallah, and what you should be really focused on, although we didn't get a chance to do everything, but at least you have a general idea of exactly what you want, because the idea is that we want to make this the best month of our life. This is our aim, this is our goal, inshallah, and therefore inshallah you have to come and you have to make a lot of sacrifice for this, because the month is truly amazing. And this is recognized by everyone, Muslims as well as non-Muslims. It has become a phenomena right now. Even in the West, the people recognize the value of Ramadan. They recognize that it's a very special time for Muslims, since it is amazing the kind of changes that come over the lives of Muslims in this month, regardless of who they are, if they are pious or they are weak, they are practicing or non-practicing. Just everyone is affected. This is known. People understand this. Non-Muslims understand that this is a special time for the Muslims, and Muslims themselves understand. When Ramadan comes, that's it. A lot of changes occur in the people's life. And this is not just for a moment or for a day, but it's for an entire month. From its very beginning to its very end, this change remains with Muslims. So it is amazing that, and if you think about it, it's really mind-boggling to really observe Muslims. One day before, everybody is careless and carefree, and they wake up the following morning, they go to sleep that night and wake up the following morning, first night of Ramadan, and they wake up completely transformed. Suddenly, people with all types of deficiencies are able to completely stop their indulgences in some of the most serious vices that were plaguing them. People who can't give up smoking, who can't stop smoking, because smoking is such a hard and difficult habit, right? They can't do it, and yet in Ramadan you find them not smoking for the entire daytime of Ramadan, throughout the days that they are fasting. Although throughout the month beyond that or before that, they would be smoking throughout the day. And this, is really an amazing thing. And like that, so many other areas you look into, you find an amazing change coming over everyone, even those who are a little pious, even those who make an effort to reach the masjid and pray sometimes. You find them in Ramadan coming to pray or try to make the masjid in the jama'ah 5 times a day. So, there is no other time or no other month in the Muslim's life that this occurs, or in anybody else's life this occurs. So this here is really truly an amazing feature that marks or demarks Ramadan from any, or highlights or bring out or shows up Ramadan as an exceptional month, different from any other month. And it is not just because it is Ramadan that all of these changes occur. It is because of something even more, something beyond that, something that is in the heart of every Muslim. Every Muslim recognizes there is something special about Ramadan, even if he doesn't know his Islam. And you know, the majority of them try to make some changes or adjustment. Even if they don't go to the masjid, they try to honor the sacredness of the month, or they feel they are doing, by cutting off from certain things. Like for example, I know a person who used to drink or drinks every day of the year. When Ramadan comes, he doesn't go to the masjid, but 2 weeks before Ramadan he stops drinking, and 2 weeks after Ramadan he's not drinking still, and the entire Ramadan he's away from the alcohol. Amazing. And then, you know, after that he starts back again. But out of respect for the month, and we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would, because there is faith, there is some level of iman, we hope that Allah would bless this level of iman, because Allah blesses and is so kind to everyone, right? So even if, brothers and sisters, you don't have much and you don't know much, but you are willing to make a little sacrifice, inshallah, do it, and then strive to increase on it, and follow us in these videos, in these presentations, and we hope that we can make it, you know, we can make it easier for you to do it, inshallah, to get some of the blessings. Everybody is not going to be at the same level, so I mean, we expect that and we know that. So we're just going to present what is necessary, and then you can move to whatever level you can, and inshallah work from there. But what is responsible for this change, brothers and sisters, is that there's this craving in everybody's heart for the forgiveness and the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know they're sinners and they want His forgiveness, and many people don't know how to get it. So what happens is that they feel that Ramadan provides this opportunity, because it's what they're told. They are told, the hadith that is weak, that the first part is forgiveness, the middle part is mercy, and the third part is freedom from the fire. The hadith is weak. So they know this. This is what they are told. This is what they know. This is what they grew up with. And so if this is the case with the month, then they are going to make the effort that is really there to find the bounty of this mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, that is so intense in the month. They don't understand that, well, yes, it takes effort to get this. So what they do is they keep away from the vices, the bad things that they are in, which is a tremendous effort anyhow. And they try to do what is better. They try to do what is good. So, inshallah, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala definitely, I mean, recognizes this about us, and this craving and this hope that we have in our hearts for His mercy. And so He provides for us these sacred moments and places. And brothers and sisters, there is no doubt that Ramadan is the richest, largest, and most loaded of these symbols with blessings. And it is here. We are at its gate. We are right here. It is only a few counted days away. I mean, and the countdown never stops. The countdown never stops. It is like death. It never stops. Every day you are moving closer and closer to it, and you can't escape it. You can't escape getting closer and closer to it. Every day that passes is one day closer. And Ramadan has that type of phenomena because its time is set, as we had explained before, and it is not going to change that time. And now it is going to come, and inshallah we hope that when we reach it, we are ready and we are prepared, inshallah, to get its blessings. Because this is what it calls for. Ramadan is very special, and it is very amazing, brothers and sisters. So, I mean, you know, please be careful. Please understand that there are so much blessings that are available for you if you really go after this month in the proper way. Okay? And alhamdulillah, as I said, it is here. It is already here. A few days, counted days, and incidentally, it is one of the best preparations that you can, or the best times that you can use to prepare for death. So inshallah, I mean, you know, if there is so much in common with death in Ramadan, then make an effort to really do something about it, because you are going to die. You are going to die, so you need to prepare for your death and what comes after it. So use Ramadan, inshallah, for that preparation, inshallah. But, I mean, you know, regardless of what it is, I mean, what happens is that most Muslims experience a particular problem, and that is that Ramadan takes them by surprise. I mean, we are doing these presentations, and I mean, we try to really reach out to as much people as possible. But up to this time the response is slow, and I think it's going to escalate, and I'm seeing some form of escalation in it towards the end, just before Ramadan comes in, which is alhamdulillah. I mean, we are still glad that people are still benefiting from them, inshallah, and we hope you are benefiting from them. But there's a problem. There's definitely a problem. There's a big dilemma for Muslims, and that is that every Ramadan comes upon them and they are heedless about its arrival. You know it's coming. It's a few days, and alhamdulillah, if you have these few days now, at least you can, and you're listening to this presentation, you can at least make some adjustment and try to prepare for it in whatever little way you can. But there are many around you who are going to be heedless about its arrival. So because of this, they reach the month fully unprepared. And so because of that unpreparedness, they would not be in a position where they are privileged to taste the sweetness. They wouldn't be able to taste the worship, the value of the worship, and the sweetness of obedience before the Ramadan ends. And so Ramadan will become for them a series of rituals that they go through. And rituals without spirit, without the essence that drives the person to do it. He just does it because some people just fast Ramadan and treat Ramadan special because it's a cultural thing. The whole country is doing it, so they do it. It's not supposed to be like that for us. It is supposed to be different. So what happens is that Ramadan meets them unprepared because, when they reach it, they're just going to do what they normally do every year. And like that, they miss the spirit of the good month. And there are some Muslims who recognize that there are some additional blessings in the month, and they understand this, but it is not that important in their mind. There are other things that are seemingly more important, which is a trap of shaitan. So when they recognize this and they go through the month, they recognize how much they have messed up with it, and so they regret, and it pains them because they realize that they're mistaken. They say to themselves, "Man, we're going to make up for it next year." However, when the next year reaches them, it is no better than the first, and sometimes it is worse because they get more busy, right? So year after year they procrastinate until it reaches their end, until they reach their end, and they are still procrastinating, and they would have missed their entire life. They would have missed the value of this great month. May Allah protect us from this serious problem. Since, brothers and sisters, I mean, as I said, we are closer and closer, and the days are passing very swiftly. I mean, if you look back from last Ramadan to this Ramadan, I mean, you can really ask yourself, mashallah, I mean, a complete year has already passed. I mean, this is my case, and I know I'm not prepared, and I'm telling you to get prepared, and I feel so unprepared. Right? I feel so guilty to really be talking to you like this, but at the same time, I feel that if I mention to you what I know, that maybe it would bring some reminder in my heart, and this is benefiting me more than it's benefiting you. So we ask Allah to help us to reach it, not just reach it though. We reach it and we are prepared. We reach it and we are set for it. We are ready for it, inshallah. So, brothers and sisters, this is because there are so many bounties that there is in this month that Allah has for His slaves. And I mean, we want these blessings. We want it. We crave after it. So we must be in a state where we strive after these blessings, so that inshallah, when the month is past, we don't look back. We don't regret that much. There's a hadith that I always like to mention, and I mentioned the hadith earlier, inshallah, when I spoke about the fact that the Prophet ﷺ climbed on the member, and when he climbed he said Ameen 3 times, and we are only going to mention one of those times, as I think I did it in the other presentation, and that is that the Prophet ﷺ says, may Allah distance him, and in another narration it says, may Allah cover the person's nose with dust, or something to that effect. I mean, the Arabic terminology indicates that distancing or being away from Allah's mercy. Who is this person who is being asked to distance? Because Angel Jibreel is making this dua, and he's saying, him who reaches Ramadan and comes out of it and is not forgiven. Brothers and sisters, think about that particular point. This indicates that there is so much forgiveness in Ramadan that it is almost impossible not to be forgiven. And I mean, many times I come out of Ramadan and I wonder if I'm forgiven, because I mess up so much during the month. But I know I have a forgiving Lord and He can forgive me all my sins. I know this. So I still try. I still make the effort. I still am weak. I'm still, and you might be in the same dilemma with me. But the point is that let us strive for the forgiveness. Let us work for it. Let us understand that yes, we are in this dilemma. We are not prepared. But inshallah, we are going to listen to these presentations, inshallah, and we are going to make an effort to do what is said in it so that we can get the blessings of it, inshallah. So, remember, I mean, you know that you prepare so much for every other thing. Every other thing in your life you're preparing for. Why not prepare for Ramadan? Why not prepare for Ramadan? You know, the people who came before us, the Sahabas, the Tabi'een, the pious people that came before us, may Allah have mercy upon all of them, and may Allah be pleased with the Sahabas. They used to look forward to this month and beg Allah to reach it 6 months before. So you can imagine the kind of bounties that they recognize in this month to be asking for them to reach it from 6 months before, prior to their reaching it. So I mean, this should make us want to really be like them, make an effort, beg Allah, oh Allah, help us to reach this month in a good state, because we are at the door of this great month that is so full of countless opportunities, to really tremendous opportunities to earn the blessings of Allah, which any Muslim who's sincere can acquire, and which would accumulate for him limitless rewards from Allah the Almighty, and earn him or her forgiveness and freedom from the fire of hell. We are at the door of this glorious month. This month that provides so much area of devotion, so much different areas of devotion, that although it touches everyone, or everyone is dealt with in it, yet each one that it deals with is like in no other time in any other month. So when we consider the following descriptions, and I'm only doing all of this to show you what is in Ramadan and what you should be focused on, because it is very important, I just want to give an idea, right? When we consider following descriptions, we cannot help but observe how beautifully Ramadan would fit as a description for each one. So what I mean is, if we take anyone individually, let us say we take fasting, and we say Ramadan is the month of fasting. There is no month in the year that can be described as the month of fasting other than Ramadan, and it would fit it. Likewise with every other thing. So let us go at it, and we will see. Ramadan, the month of the Quran. Ramadan, the month of the Quran. Can any other month be described as the month of the Quran like Ramadan can be described as the month of the Quran? No. Muslims don't read the Quran like they do in Ramadan. Everybody who knows to read Quran is reading Quran, and not just reading Quran intensely and continuously, and trying to finish it, and trying to, even if they can't read it. Masajids are trying to now put things in place to have imams who come to recite the entire Quran for the entire month. So a person can, as long as he comes to the Taraweeh, he is privileged to listen in the Quran, the entire Quran, from its beginning to its end, over a period of 30 days. Brothers and sisters, which other month can be called the month of the Quran? No other month, only Ramadan. Same thing with the month of fasting. Fasting is obligatory in the month. No other month has fasting as obligatory in it except Ramadan. So again, Ramadan is the month of fasting, and it is as an apt description, fully complete description for it. And notice that these actions that I'm going to say, none of it has to do with worldly actions. The month of Salat, from the first night, you have Taraweeh, an extra Salat that is added. It can be prayed in congregation, and that recitation of the Quran is done for long periods, much more than it is done for in regular Salat. Sometimes people pray the entire nights in Ramadan, especially in the last 10 nights, when they would stand for hours praying to try to find Laylatul Qadr, right? And this is another description of Ramadan, the month of Laylatul Qadr, right? So even in Ramadan, the Salat, the month of Salat, let us say for example, There is no other month that Salat is prayed more in congregation than in Ramadan. There is no other month that people pray Salat more than in Ramadan, Nawafil as well as Fard. Some people don't pray their 5 Salat during the year, but they would pray it in Ramadan. Some people don't go out to the masjid to pray. They go out in the masjid, they go out in Ramadan to pray. And nobody wakes up. Many times the majority of people don't wake up. Very few people wake up to pray tahajjud. In Ramadan, the masajids are full of people praying the late night prayer. Right? Ramadan is a month of sacrifice. A month in which Muslims sacrifice at all levels. Their time, their wealth, their everything. Sacrifice without comparison. They don't sacrifice any they don't sacrifice like this for any other month like in Ramadan. So Ramadan could be described as a month of sacrifice. Ramadan, the month of dua. Dua is made more in Ramadan more than any other month. Believe it. Actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the ayah that is found in Surah Baqarah between the ayats of Ramadan that speaks about Ramadan. Allah says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِ عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Between among those ayats, this ayah comes in the middle. After Allah talks about fasting in Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, the next ayah that comes after that is the one that deals with dua, as if dua is a part of Ramadan, because after that Allah talks about making the night of the prayer, the night as permissible for you, to go to your wives, and the fact He describes when the night is different from the day and when to start fasting and things like that. Right? The point is that the dua here is, and if my servant asks of me, or asks, إِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي أَنِّي, if my servants ask about me, فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ, I'm near. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِي إِذَا دَعَانِ, I answer the call of the one who calls when he calls me. Allahu Akbar. So, dua is a natural part, and inshallah we are going to deal with a series or a session dealing with dua. Maybe it might take more than one session, dealing with specific situations where dua is accepted, generally and specifically in Ramadan, because there are many situations that generally dua are accepted and listened to in those situations, but in Ramadan, mashallah, there are more situations. So Ramadan can be described as the month of dua. Ramadan can be described as the month of zakat, because most people use Ramadan as the time period when they should be when they should be paying their zakat. Now this is not necessarily the correct thing to do, but they do it still, and I don't have time to explain that, but the point is that they are paying their zakat, and it's the month of zakat for most people, and it's also the month of sadaqah, of additional charity. Muslims are definitely more generous in Ramadan than in any other month. And this is why you see people even going around in the country that I live in. People going around, poor people go around during this month to collect money that people have to give. People have to give out to them, and this is not done at any other time. So definitely Ramadan is the month of zakat or sadaqah, or the month of generosity. Anyone you want to describe it as, the month of Laylatul Qadr. There is no other night like this in the entire year, and and Ramadan has this night. It's a night that is better than 1,000 months, and it can only be described. Ramadan can be described fittingly as the month of Laylatul Qadr. Right? Ramadan, the month of Laylatul Qadr, because that's what it's about. The month of i'tikaf. I'tikaf is not done in any other time. I'tikaf is seclusion, and it is a highly recommended act to be done in Ramadan, because the Prophet ﷺ used to do i'tikaf for the last 10 days, trying to seek after the Laylatul Qadr. Okay? And we would find that to come to Saudi Arabia or to Mecca or Medina, people travel from all over the world to come during Ramadan, especially the last 10 days, and it's one of the high seasons for Umrah, because the Prophet ﷺ talks about Umrah in Ramadan. I didn't mention this as a part of the specialties of Ramadan, but it is there. The Prophet ﷺ says, whoever does an Umrah in Ramadan is like doing Hajj with me. But the Prophet ﷺ used to do i'tikaf in this month, and people travel from all over the world to do the Umrah, so they get the blessings of a Hajj, and at the same time to get the blessings of i'tikaf. MashaAllah. So it is the month of i'tikaf. Everybody's doing i'tikaf, or no, not everybody. A lot of people are making efforts to do i'tikaf, and they don't do it at any other time in the year, right? So inshallah, we find that as we look at these different things, different aspects, we find that Ramadan aptly fits. It's the best month for each one of these actions. There's no other month that matches Ramadan for each one of these actions, as if Ramadan is specific for all these. And it's the same thing with this, the month of forgiveness and mercy. And this comes from the hadith that I quoted, that may Allah distance the one who comes into Ramadan, goes out of it, and is not forgiven. And we're going to show, inshallah, we're going to try to show the amount of forgiveness that's available in Ramadan, inshallah. From the mercy, His mercy comes about, the mercy is manifested in the fact that the Quran is revealed in it, and the month of fasting, and extra salat, and extra du'as accepted, and people are giving extra sadaqah. All of this is from the mercy of Allah. So definitely, inshallah, this is one of the areas. The month of freedom from the fire of hell. This is the month of Ramadan. And brothers and sisters, available every day and every night of Ramadan. Can you imagine that? For 30 nights, or 29 nights and 29 days, you stand a chance, and I stand a chance to be free from hell. In addition to that, the fasting distances people from hell. So, look at all of this. And obviously, it is a month of tremendous blessings. In addition to that, it is the most social month of the year. That is, more Muslims interact with each other than at any other time in the year. Right? Even Hajj. Because Hajj is only in one place where there's a lot of interactions among Muslims. But for Ramadan, it can be called the month of brotherhood because people just come out in droves to the masjid. Masjids are full. People just, are there in multitudes. So it is definitely the month of brotherhood. They Muslim help, they invite, they reach out to each other during this month more than any other month in the year. So surely all the above descriptions and much more can be used to describe. We can find some other descriptions to describe Ramadan, right? However, each action described each one of the actions that we described above cannot find another month that would fit that action in a more excellent way than Ramadan does. So pay attention. So if this is the case with the month, then it shows its majesty. So without a doubt, Ramadan is the best month that one can have for closeness to Allah, because there's so much areas of worship that is involved in this particular time. So let us consider this and understand that in addition to all of this, Satan is hardness, and his restrictions are restricted during this, and his movements are restricted during this month. What a bounty this is, because it gives us an opportunity to really get at it in a much more profound way. So brothers and sisters, before we close off this, let us go into the final piece, inshallah. This is something that we should really pay attention to, and we should really look forward to the month and prepare for all those areas that are there that we can get blessings from. So make sure we pay attention to them. Let us go at these notes. I want you to pay attention to this because this is important. An entire month of abstinence is surely enough time for anyone who's interested in change to do just that. So if you have a weakness, it is that time in which you can use to change that weakness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Ramadan is proving to you that you have absolutely no excuse for bad habits that might plague you, because you curb them in Ramadan. Or on the other hand, for weaknesses and laziness that might afflict you from not doing what is obligatory upon you. So for example, you're praying in Ramadan and you're fasting in Ramadan and you're doing so much good things in Ramadan. You make sure you pray your 5 salat, you wear a khimar to go to the masjid, and you do everything else inshallah in Ramadan. These obligatory things. And at other times, because of weakness or laziness, you leave them off. Allah is showing you that for a month you can do it. And if you can do it for that month, why not? So ponder, O Muslims, when you do all those amazing things in Ramadan, all you're telling yourself is, yes, I can do whatever Islam asks of me at any time in my life also. It is not only for Ramadan, and I'm not only a Ramadan Muslim. Ramadan Muslim. I'm a Muslim for every day of the year. So I have to do everything else. So Ramadan is not just does not just contain all of these blessings, but Ramadan is a month of intensive training for you and me. It trains us at an intensive level. So our responsibility after that is to beg Allah to forgive us and to give us the strength to effect change in our lives in those areas that we see weakness. Strive to implement them immediately and correct them, inshallah. So we must also be aware that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you if you are sincere. If you have these weaknesses and you are sincere about correcting them, He's going to help you if you are sincere and honest. Just like you were able to do it in Ramadan. You were sincere in Ramadan. You wanted the blessings. You were striving for it, so you made the effort. Just like that, inshallah, if you make the effort and you're sincere, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to help you. Just as He helped you in Ramadan, He can do it for you in your entire life. Allah is surely able to do all of this. I want you to finally consider, if you return to your bad habits after Ramadan, and may Allah forbid this, then you would have no excuse on the Day of Judgment, because you did it. So what is preventing you from doing it after Ramadan? If you did it during Ramadan, you did what you were commanded to do during Ramadan, you completed all your responsibilities during Ramadan, what is preventing you from doing it after that? So what excuse can you have? So be careful. Be very careful, brothers and sisters. And may Allah help us and strengthen us to do what is good and benefit from Ramadan, as not only from the areas of blessings, but as a month of training. Let us go to it with that attitude. Ramadan as a month of training for us, so that inshallah when we come out of it we are trained, and Satan will have an enemy to deal with. He already has an enemy to deal with in a kind of a way when you are a Muslim. But if you prepare yourself and you commit to follow the laws of Islam, you are his biggest enemy. And you have to remember, you have to take him as enemy, right? And remember, when he comes out after Ramadan, he's going to take you as his enemy. So be careful. He's going to try to do everything to get you to go back to what you were before, or to get me to what I was in before. So may Allah help us and guide us and strengthen us through what is right. Keep us away from what is evil and protect us from hell. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, shadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.